Hey everyone, I am just wanting to check in now that we are halfway through Unit 2. I'm enjoying reading your thoughts on uh, New Mexico's earliest inhabitants as well as the Spanish conquest in its early years. The 16th century was certainly a difficult time, although, as Van Hastings Garner kind of reminds us too, um, much of that century was actually characterized by relative peace, as people, Pueblo and Spaniard alike, had made certain accommodations with one another um, after the violence of Juan de Uñate, and then before the event known as either the Pueblo Revolts or the First American Revolution, or different ways of thinking about and considering that major event. Um, so again, I think it's important for us to wrestle with the sometimes troubling histories of New Mexico's colonialism as we think about, as many of you have emphasized, the ways in which New Mexico is a multicultural location that celebrates a lot of different cultural heritage, and that preserves a lot of different sites, historical sites in that way, from folks who had different backgrounds. Um, because of that, it can sometimes be easy to gloss over where the conflicts were and who had power and who didn't, and what was learned from those things. So, again, it's been interesting and insightful to see us kind of wrestle with these issues as we have our conversations on Twitter and are posting to the timeline. Um, let's see, I've been giving feedback on the Unit 2 timeline ID step, so if you've completed that, you should already have a score and some feedback from me. Please let me know if you have any questions about the feedback that I've provided in Brightspace, or more importantly, if you can't find that feedback, let me know and I'll help out with that. You can revise and resubmit the Unit 2 timeline assignment. I know that one the timeline is not something that you may have ever done before in a history class, so I'm happy to allow for that revision. And honestly, if you want to do that at any point for our class over the next almost 2 weeks now, that is more than fine, because the learning process is about kind of going back and revising and rethinking, to just get better and have a fuller, I should say, picture of what happened in the past, as we were talking about in Unit 1. So that's something that is open to you. Also, I didn't emphasize this enough, I think, this time around, but there is no penalty for late submissions of assignments. So if you didn't yet submit your ID step or your Twitter work, you can still do that for full credit. Especially in the intersession, I think that if you can get the work done within 2 weeks, whether you hit every single deadline along the way, that is a win. That's a major accomplishment. This is an intensive class. It's an intensive way to do this. I think it can be wonderful, and we can learn a lot and work together well. But at the same time, again, if you miss something, don't worry about it. Just make it up, or even if you need to kind of go back to it later in our 2 weeks together, that's more than fine. So if you have any questions about any of that, please let me know. I hope that you're having a good afternoon, and I will talk to you again soon.